Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my YouTube channel and my 13 Frights before Halloween for 2020. This is day one, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this 6x6 explosion box. This is the lid with a little crystal ball on the top. So it's all decorated up for Halloween. Lots of spooky little scary elements here. Makes a great gift and it's a lot of fun to create. So let's open it up. So this lid comes off the 6x6 box and it drops down. And we have two waterfalls on each opposite side. And then we have this pop-up element here. It's kept with a closure with a magnet. So this pulls up. When it pulls up, you have this pop-up element here on both sides. Like that. Show you this side. And how it pops up. Isn't that fun? Put pictures on those. Held with a magnet. These two are made the same. Tie closure. Little waterfall flips. We can put some small photos in here. Photo mat there. So they're made the same. I'm not going to untie the other one. Just tie it back up real quick. Or I'll forget later on. Okay. Well, I didn't do so good on that one. These are double strings, so there's not any danger of them tearing or, raveling. Then you take the lid off the 5-inch box. So this is decorated up with some skeletons and spiders, the boo. So this pops down. And in this one we have two elements that are booklet pockets. So this pulls out. They're the same. I'm just showing you one. The little booklet here, like that. So inside of this element, we have two gatefold doors that open, and we have this pocket. So inside on this one, I'm putting this Happy Halloween cut apart, 3x4 cut apart card, and this photo mat with bats. So that closes back up, and this slips inside of these little triangle pocket holders. So let's put the cut apart in this one. We open the little doors, and I have a tag with a skeleton. Another Happy Halloween with a skull and a crow. Just stick those in right there and then close this up, and again the little triangle pockets hold that in place. On the other side with the string closure, we have this little waterfall type flip up, a smaller one, a bigger one, and another pocket. So I'm going to have to find some more elements to stick in these pockets. I don't have them yet. I'll have to cut some more cut aparts. Anyway, this ties on this side here like that, and I need to find some kind of sticker element to go on this little flap so that it kind of is decorated like this one. So then we take the lid off of the little 4x4 and that flops down, and I didn't put anything on the inside here because I want to make something on day 2, which is tomorrow, to go inside. We're going to make a little paper pumpkin. So now we're ready for the tutorial for this 6x6 explosion box. It's a lot of fun to make. I think you'll enjoy it. There's lots of explosion boxes out there, so they're all made basically the same. This one I decided I wanted to make sure and have a lid for each section to kind of keep it all together like this. And also on this front piece here, I did add this little tag that says Happy Halloween. So I've added a little elements to that. So let's get started on the tutorial. For day 1 of my 13 Frights before Halloween, I'm going to make a 6-inch explosion box with a 5-inch box and a 4-inch box inside for photos. It's kind of like an explosion box album, and I'm going to be using Cartabella's Halloween Market that came out this year. I ordered this from Country Craft Creations. It still may be in this store. I'm not sure this late if it will be, but you can use any Halloween collection that you may have You can mix and match different collections that you may have left in your stash. This one comes, I'm using one kit for now. I have an extra one if I need to add it to it, but this package has 12 of the 12 by 12 double-sided texture papers and a sticker element sheet that comes with it. So we have a lot of fun Halloween images in this collection. The ghost and the words on orange, bats, skeletons, candelabras, plaid, the borders, the buffalo check, candy, skull and crossbones, some banner, Halloween banner images, some stars, orange and white stripes, the market carts with the jack-o'-lanterns, spiders, larger words with some images in there, and the jack-o'-lanterns, and then this mixture of what I call witches and skulls, skeletons, pumpkin images all mixed together. So it's a lot of fun. I think it's going to be fun to create with this. I also ordered two packages. I ordered one pack of the frames and tags and one package of the die cut ephemera to decorate with. May or may not use all of that, so I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to use black artisan cardstock. I've already cut mine for the project. I did use 8 12 by 12 cardstock sheets. So we're ready to get started. I'm going to have this cutting guide list down in the bottom of my description of my video, so be sure to click on show more to find that. And let's get started. I'm going to need my scoreboard and a scoring tool. So for the first box, you're going to cut 4 that are 6 inches wide by 12 inches long. And you're going to put the 12-inch in at the top, and you're going to score all 4 of these in half at 6 inches. So go ahead and do all that real quick. Make sure it's all the way in and score at 6. On all 4 pieces. Now each of these boxes, even the ones on the inside, are going to have a lid. So we need to cut cardstock and score for the lid. So for the 6-inch box, you need a piece that's 8 1/8 square. So it's 8 1/8 by 8 1/8, and then you're going to score on all 4 sides at 1 inch. Just turn and score. And make sure you're putting it all the way in square on all sides. So this is our biggest lid, and this is the one that will be on the outside. Okay, and then you need, for box number 2, you need, for a 5-inch side, you need to cut 4 that are 5 inches by 10, and we're going to score in half at 5 inch on all 4. And then for the lid for this 5-inch box, we're going to cut 1 piece of cardstock that is 7 1/8 by 7 1/8, and we're going to do the same thing. You score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. Now this is going to make a pretty good size explosion box, and we're going to make flaps and things to make it into more like an album, and then we'll have something in the center for treats. Now for the 3rd box on the inside, that's going to be a 4-inch size, so you need to cut 4 pieces that are 4 inches by 8, and we're going to score the 8-inch side in half at 4 on all 4 pieces. And then the lid for the 4-inch box, you need a 6 1/8 inch by 6 1/8 inch, score all 4 sides at 1 inch. So these are all of our cardstock pieces that we need for this. And we're going to start assembling the boxes and the lids. We'll probably do the patterning, add some patterning on the lids, pattern paper, before we actually assemble the lids. But we've got all of this done. So this was cut out of, again, 8 pieces of the 12 by 12 black artisan cardstock. So I've separated my pieces. I have my box pieces over here and my lid pieces here. I'm going to set the lids aside for now. And I'm going to just grab the pieces for the larger box, which are your 4 pieces that are 6 by 12 that are scored in half. Let's set these others aside. So let's take our bone folder or tool and go ahead and fold and burnish these so that we can see where our score line is in the black. Sometimes it's a little hard to see. So we'll go ahead and get those scored, and then we'll put the explosion box piece together. And the explosion box, of course, they're not attached together on the sides because you want to be able for it to all explode down. So we're going to take one piece here, open it up, and you're going to put glue on just one back side of your 6-inch section, just one section. So put glue. And I'm going to put it together so that it's sticking to the right. So you want to match this piece here right over the 1 6-inch of the first piece, and you want to make sure they're straight but not over the score line. And burnish that down. I'm going to turn this so I have it like this. We're going to stack another one right on top into the center here, right there. So again, we put glue on just one of the 6-inch sections. And you're going to glue it down so that you have a flap coming to your right. You're going to glue it down, line it up correctly, evenly on all 4 sides. At the top, just a little. There we go. And burnish that in. And then you have one more to go. And again, to your right, you're going to open up this one on the back side. Put your glue. So that it opens to the right. This just fits right over the other, so you have 4 layers for your bottom base and the bottom section. So in the center here you have 4 layers stacked together, and then these all flap over, so you just fold them, get burnished here. This one goes in, and the last one. Okay, so that is the 6-inch base right there, like that. Now it will have pattern paper. It's going to be a little floppy until you get all the elements glued in. So there's that one. You will do the other 2 exactly the same. The only thing is they're different size. So I'm going to speed up the video for that, and we have get those all done right quick. So I'm going to grab the next one, which is the 5-inch, and of course you're going to fold all your score lines before you assemble it. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up this video so it'll save us some time on assembly, as these all assemble the same, just different sizes. So we have all three of the boxes. We have the 6, the 5, and the 4. So they stack in like this and will be attached together after we do adding some pattern paper, and then they'll all come up together, and we'll also add maybe some waterfalls and different photo mat options or flaps. So we're going to do that. So that's the boxes. So next we need to do the lids. So I'm going to grab my lid pieces. We have the 3 sizes that we've already scored. Now before I fold these lines, what I'm going to do is we're going to cut a flap. Now looking at it here, we're going to cut the one on the left, but we're going to cut the front line, score line, up to the 1-inch line. So you just make one cut with your scissors up there, turn it, and repeat it in the same place on the left corner, front score line up to the 1-inch. Turn and do it again, and one more time. These are your flaps to put your lid together. Then you can go ahead and fold and burnish really well your lid fold lines at the 1-inch lines. One more. So this is the lid for the 6-inch box, and it's also the outer lid. Then go ahead and fold and burnish the little tabs that are going to put this lid together. So do all 4 of those. Now if you want to do a very slight miter cut, you can. Very, very, very slight, which you can check to see if you think you're going to need it. Usually you don't, if you scored it good. So we're just going to fold these and cut the tabs, and then fold these and set them aside, and we have them ready for adding pattern paper. So go ahead and do the other 2 the exact same way. I'm going to speed up the camera to save us some time, but all 3 are done the same. So you start on the left, cut that line up to that 1-inch, turn and cut. Okay, so there's the lids cut and ready for pattern paper, and we also have our box bases ready. So I'll decide on what I'll put on different sections, and we'll probably do the lids first, adding pattern paper. Now we're ready to go ahead and put pattern paper on our lid pieces. I've already gone ahead and cut mine. I will put that the measurements down in the description below. Click on show more of the video description to find the cutting list. So the pattern papers, now this may seem a little unusual. This is for a 6x6 box. So the lid piece is actually cut 6x6, because remember we cut it 6 1/8 by 6 1/8 and scored it 1 inch. So to make it fit in here, if you'll measure it, you'll see that a 6x6 piece will give you just a little margin all the way around. So I cut 2 pieces that are 6x6 for the bigger lid. I'm going to set these others aside. We'll go over those as we're getting ready to put them down. So I did 2 different patterns. I did the orange with the dots and the spider webs for the inside and outside, and then your smaller pieces here, your edges or the sides of your box lid, will need to be, you'll need 8 that are 7/8 tall. Pay attention to your directions of your paper by the 6 inches wide. So that is the size that I cut, and I'm going to just use the same one on the front and the bottom. Now I could switch them around, and I may see how that looks, because I want the spider here on the top. So that would give it a contrast, or you can make the lid the same. So I think I'm going to split mine up, and I'm going to use the orange on the outside with the spider webs here. So I'm just going to take my glue and ink the edges if you desire. And use your glue to attach this down. Now you want to make sure that you're not going over the fold lines of your box lid. So if you need to fold them under to help you see where it's going, go ahead and do that. So make sure nothing is going to cover those score lines. Now then, also the other important thing is we've got to assemble this on the inside. So don't add your little pattern pieces on the inside flat. We want to glue this together before we do that, otherwise it won't work. So we're going to go ahead now and put these on the outside. Turn it. Now I'm going to be gluing these down just on this one lid with you on video because it's the same thing. I will go over the cutting measurements and then I will be doing mine off camera, because even with a speeded up video it does take time, and longer videos take longer to upload, so that's why I don't want to put every little detail on the video, but I do want you to know exactly what to do for the next step. So you're going to pattern each lid the same way, but the sizes will be different, and I'll give you those before I turn off the camera. And I'm going to go ahead and assemble this lid with you also right after I put the pattern paper. So we've got the front done like this. So we're going to turn it over. Now we're just going to put this inner piece in. We're not going to put these others in until we assemble this. So let's go ahead, and yeah, like the skeletons, I did use it on one of the other box lids, so don't panic. It's hard to decide which side of a paper to use because I usually like them all. So this we're going to fit it right in. Okay, and burnish. Now we're ready to assemble. I'm going to grab a few little clips in case I need them. These are little sewing clips. So we're going to bring the tab to the inside, and you want to make sure that you're lining it up square right here on the top. Now if a little bit of it's sticking out, take your scissors and do a very tiny miter like that. I'm going to check each one so that there's not excess sticking out at the top. I'm just going to go ahead and miter those along the outer edge, just very tiny. I'm just going to show it this way. From the fold, just the tiniest bit. Okay, and I think I already did that one. Probably this one needs it from the fold and out. Okay, or in. So now we have those mitered slightly. I'm going to put glue on this first one, and so with your finished, the outer part of your box facing up, put your glue on your corner, and then you're going to bring this together, and like I said, make sure it lines up right here. You don't want it sticking over. Hold it for a few seconds and use that clip if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So the glue is going to go right here on this tab. and bring it to the inside. And line those up. Make sure those corners are lining up. You want a nice straight corner here. I'll go ahead and get these. Bring it in. Line up that corner and clip it. And finish up with the last one. Okay, so that is the lid, the 6-inch lid. I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. So I'm going to give you the measurements, and after it dries, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go ahead and you're going to glue these into the inside. So I'm going to let it dry for a minute. I'm going to set these aside and give you the measurements for these. For your 5-inch box, you'll need, for the inside and outside of your lid, you'll need 2 that are 5 by 5, and then you're going to need 8 7/8 tall by 5 inches wide. Pay attention to your direction. So you're going to want 4 of each pattern of these small ones and 1 of each pattern of the 5 by 5. And then your little one is your 4 by 4, so you want 2 4 by 4s, and then you want 8 that are 7/8 tall, see the direction, by 4 inches wide. So then I've got 4 of each pattern on that and 1 of each pattern on this. Can't talk right today. So those are the other 2 that I'll be doing off camera. So these should be ready. I'm going to go ahead and take my clips off and just right quickly put my pattern paper in. It's a little more difficult with it assembled, but you have to do that to be able to cover up those tabs because you want a nice finished look. So I'm just going to slide it in there, and it's a good fit. So it just has a slight margin at the top there. Okay, so we'll do all 4 of these. And by having pattern paper on the inside and outside of your lid, with that cardstock, with the artisan cardstock, it makes it a whole lot more sturdy, which is going to make a huge difference once we start adding things to our box base. And 1 more. And I just burnish that with my hands. Now you can turn it on its side and give it a good burnish with your bone folder. Okay, so there's the inside of the lid. There's the outside. And I don't have my box space here handy, so I kind of got mine off just a little bit here on the side, but that's going to be okay because I'll probably put something else on there. So there's my lid. I'm going to go ahead and make the other 2 off camera, and then we'll be ready to start working on our adding extra elements to our boxes. So I have all my lids, all 3 of them assembled and patterned. Here's the little 4x4 with the bats. I went with the bats on the top, some of the wording on the side, and then this banners on the inside. And the 5-inch one has the skeletons on the lid with the stars, sky, and then the sky on the inside and skeletons around the inside. And then I have the big one, the 6x6, has the spider webs with the orange, and then the opposite orange on the center and the spider webs on the edges. So what you need to do next before you start any other assembly is check to make sure our lids fit well. So I'll take the 4-inch, pull up my sides. Now remember, these are kind of flimsy still because we've got other elements that are going to go in that will make it a little more sturdy, you know, the pattern paper. So that fits good. Set that one aside. My 5-inch. And again, they are a little flimsy yet, so you have to kind of work with it to get it all in there, but once it's on, yeah, that works great. And then of course the last one, and then this is the one we're going to start working on first with some elements that I'm going to put on the inside, and I hope that they will work because they may be a little heavy. I hope not. So we're going to see how it goes. So here's the 6-inch box, just like that. Okay, so we can't see them all sides because I can't pick them up just yet, but like I said, these will all go inside each other and attach together. So 6, 5, and 4. Okay, we're ready to start on the inside of the bigger one here. For the 6-inch explosion box section, I have cut my pattern papers, and you're going to need to cut 10 that are 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. So I cut 4 out of the candy print that I'm using, so these are all 4 the same. I did 2 of the spider webs, one for the inside, one for the bottom, and then I did 4 of the jack-o'-lanterns for the outside. So whatever patterns you want to use, it'd also be cute with 4 different patterns all the way around. So whatever you want to use on yours. So I'm going to go ahead and mat mine onto the inside and then flip it over and do the back. And I'm going to do these off camera again, simply to save time on the video so that it's not so long for uploading. So I'm going to go ahead, and of course I'm using glue, art glitter glue. I'm just going to put it on the border and on the inside. So for each section that is 6 inches wide, I'm putting a 5 7/8 inch in. So you don't want it to go over your fold line, and then burnish those in. So go ahead and pattern all of your sections, inside and outside. You know what? Yes, this one does need a piece. The others will not need 10. They were only going to need 9 because we're going to be gluing them in. But you do need this because when your box fits in, grab it right quick, like the next box goes in, you're going to see a border around. So you do want this inside patterned, and I want the outside patterned on the ones that's going to be on the outside, and on the ones that glue in, you don't have to do the bottom. Okay, so I've got the 6-inch box patterned on the inside. This is the outside. I forgot to tell you, dry fit each piece after you cut it, just in case you've cut something a little bit off, to make sure it's not going over the fold line, and then you have the border around, the tiny bit of border around the black of the black showing. And then also make sure that your pattern is going the direction that when the box is folded up. So like this is the top, the outer edges are the top of your pattern paper, so that's real important, and inside here as well. So I made sure that they all are, when it's closed up, they are all facing the same direction. Okay, so now we're ready to create something to go inside of this, and it's going to be a pop-up card type element. So I think that'll be a lot of fun, and we'll have more room in the smaller boxes for flaps and photos. But so for here, we're going to have a pop-up element, and I may have a slide waterfall on the opposite side. So we'll have 2 of each element here on the end. For the inside of the 6-inch box, we're going to make 2 fun elements that are called, I'm calling pop-up photo mats. They're also pop-up cards. I'm sure you've seen this technique. I put a closure on mine with a magnet, so we have a flap. Now this is going to attach into the inside wall of one of the sections. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. Leave the back plain. This will flip down. We have some bats. Couldn't decide which way to put them, so they may be upside down. I don't know. And then when you lift the top, it all pops out. And so we have 2 3x4 cards, and then this area for photos in here. Of course, you can put photos up here and down here. So this is a lot of fun. If you haven't made one yet, at first it took me a bit to get the measurements figured out for this particular project, and I want to give special credit to May made it for the mechanism inside, the folding and the assembly method of that. I found it a lot easier than some of the others I have seen before, or that I have used before. So we're going to make one together. This one is already finished, and of course to fold it up, you just close it up. Sometimes you have to press down a little bit, and then your magnet will hold it. So this will go inside our 6x6 box. So now we're going to cut cardstock to create another one. So you will do twice as many, and that will be in the cutting list down below in my description. Just be sure and click on show more to find it. For the pop-up photo mat element that we're going to make, you do need to cut cardstock. Now I will say that for my explosion box, I am making mine out of artisan black cardstock, which is a very heavy linen cardstock. But for this pop-up element, I am using a lighter weight chipboard, just a little bit lighter, that bends and folds a little easier because of the element having to go in and out. So for each one, you need one piece that is 12x5 and then 2 12x4s. So if you're cutting out for both pieces, I've got glue all over me, sorry. Both pieces, you're going to need 2 12x5s and a total of 4 12x4. So that is in the cutting guide. Now we need to score. So let's grab our scoreboard. We're going to take our base piece. This is the outer part of it. Score your 12-inch side at 6. And go ahead and fold, burnish that. That makes our booklet. Oh, and I forgot to cut for my closure piece. So that's out of one of the scraps. We need this to be 3 inches by 5, I believe. Yes, 3 inches by 5. So you will end up cutting 2 3 inches by 5. Let me cut mine really quick. So we have one piece, 3 inches by 5 for the closure piece. So then we're going to take one of these 12x4s, and we're going to put the 12-inch in at the top, and we're going to score at 3, 6, and 9. Now you're going to need to fold this center one back like that. Go ahead and burnish it really well. And then take the one on the far right, bend it towards the center, burnish it really well, and then bend this other one on the left towards the center as well, burnish that. So you have a fold like that that has valley, mountain, valley. The 2 on the ends go down, the one in the center goes up. So that's how it's going to go in on the pop-up element. Set that aside. Grab the other 12x4. This is your pop-up mechanism that's going to make it work. So you're going to put the 12-inch side in, and we're going to score at 6 inches. Turn it and score at 2. Okay, and then grab your little closure piece. This one puts your 5-inch in at the top, and we're going to score at 4 and 4 1/4. And then also go ahead and grab your punch that you might want to use. I used the stub, so the end opposite of the score lines, just stub the 2 ends. Okay, like that. So let me see if you can see that. Sorry if it moved. Black's hard to see. There you go. So set that aside, and you can go ahead and fold and burnish those lines if you want. Right quick. And have that ready to put on the piece. Okay, so there's our closure, and we'll need a magnet set. So for both of these, you're going to need 2 magnet sets. Okay, so let's put this aside. Now the tricky part of making the mechanism. I hope I don't mess up showing you, but if I do, I'll start all over. So you have an X here in the middle where the 2 lines intersect right here. That's your center point. And we're going to have to get these folds in here for it to work correct. So bring this up. So we're having to bring this right side up, fold over, so that this score line here matches the score line on the table. So don't press down yet, just get them lined up the best you can. You've got to get it pretty accurate. And I'm going to hold it. So it's coming from that center point. So turn it over. And then also make sure you line. And you may have to just push it a little bit to get it there. Then where that fold is, burnish it, burnish it, burnish it. So what we have here, mine's a little bit off. We have a line through this center point. Okay, so try to get it more over into the center point if you can. I don't know, mine slipped a little bit. So that's that one. Then we take the next one on our left, and again it's this score line, not the one from the X, but this middle score line. I'm going to have to try to get that in the center from that and line up this from here. There's the line there. Turn it over, double check. You may have to tweak it just a little bit. Push on the left and then go ahead and press that down. I know that's a little tricky. I had to practice quite a bit myself. So what we have is an X, score marks, pretty centered right here for that. Next we're going to have to fold this up. Okay, now bend this center one, the 2-inch one, and let's burnish that down. I think that helps a lot. Now there's a way most people pinch and it comes together correctly. For me, that never seems to work. So this has got to go down and this one's got to go down. So see, I'm putting my fingers into the one that I bent over, down the center to get this V here, and then that one like that. So that is the fold correct. Then you have to kind of press it down. And where I didn't have it centered quite right, I'm going to have to re-burnish this and get my fold a little bit better to the point. So it kind of looks like a little tent house. Mine's off just a little bit here on the sides. And I'm going to try to straighten it up. I think it'll be okay. You're not going to see any of this, so burnish, burnish, burnish. Now, I look at mine and then I determine that I'm off a little bit here at the bottom. Just a hair. So I'm just going to trim it off and make them even. And same on the sides. If it's off a little bit on the side right here, I'm just trimming off to make these both the same. Okay, so that is the mechanism. See if you can see how it is. It's got space this side here. You've got this opening here in the middle where it meets. So it's got like a tent roof here and here. So I'm going to hold that a minute so you can look. So you've got your folds inside. So grab your card base, open it up to the inside. Now then lay this so that it's centered, and you want your point at the very top where the fold is, but you want the fold to be able to fold down. So don't go beyond the fold. So it should put this base right here at the bottom edge, right here. And center it. So I've got about a 1/2 inch on each side. And hold that and take your glue. And you're just going to put a line of glue. Don't put it over the whole thing. You just want a line of glue on this angled edge on the left and the right, like that. Okay, fold it down over it, press it down, burnish it, give it a second to dry. Go ahead and turn it over, open it back up. And then we need to add glue the same way on this other side. So you put a line of glue right along the angle fold on the left and the right side, just like that. Close it back up, burnish it, burnish it, burnish it so that it dries, and let it dry for a bit. Okay, then it opens up and we have the mechanism in for our little fold out. Now again, remember I said you want your mountain in the middle, so that means going up, these two going down. We're going to put here on the left side just about a 1-inch square glue right here on this left side. Okay, take your fold out piece with the mountain going up in the center and glue this corner, left corner, line them up and glue that down, burnish it, and make sure we're lined up at the top correct, make sure everything's square. Okay, that's that side, that's all you attach on that side. All right, here, move this out of the way. On the mechanism, on the top right corner, about 1 inch square of glue. And this is all you glue on it. You don't want to put it anywhere else. Then bring this over and attach this top corner to the mechanism corner, and make sure we're lining up and burnish that. So I've decided that I needed to show you again how to do this mechanism and assemble this pop-up card. And to make it easier, I'm going to do it on this craft paper, and I have actually scored and then marked the score lines in pen so that we can see this. So the card base piece, I didn't draw on it. It is a 12 by 5, and you score the 12-inch side in half and fold it in half. So this is your card base. And then your pop-up photo mats is a 4-inch by 12-inch piece that I scored at 3, 6, and 9. And then when you fold it, you fold in half with the fold facing up. Bring this right one up to it, the fold facing down, and bring this one up, the fold facing down. So when you open it up, you have your score lines. You have 2 valleys and a mountain. So we'll use that in a little bit. This is the one that's really tricky. So this is a 4 by 12 piece, and you scored the 12-inch in half at 6, and you scored the 4-inch side in half at 2. So you see here I got the marks. Now this is the folding. So with it facing you like this, we're going to fold up so that this score line matches this score line, and you just kind of have to twist it. Let me turn it over on the back here. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can take my ruler and mark the lines on the back as well to make it easier to see. So there's your score line there. And you might want to do this on a lighter color and practice before you do it on a black. Black is really hard to see. Now this does not go in my explosion box. This is just to show you how to line it up, how to fold it. So this is a teaching sample. Okay, so we have it here. We're going to take this right side. We want this line to line up with the score line there. Now you want to pick it up and try to make sure you pinch it there in the middle, and you can line that up. Now I'm going to turn it over to see that this score line is lined up with that one. So see this fold here we have? That's what we burnish. Okay, makes sense? Turn it back over and open it up. So we now have a line through the center at a proper angle that we need to make this work. So draw a line here for you there. So you can see that line goes right through there. Now from the left side, we're going to do the same thing. I forgot to mark that one. It's so great here. So mark this one so we can see it too. I'm just doing this for the camera because it makes it easier to see. Let's turn this back over. So this is the right side. We've already folded this one. This is the left side. Now we're going to fold it. We're going to bring it all the way up until that score line matches this one. And I'm going to hold it with my finger, and it needs to come up a little more because we want this center to be right there. Turn it and look at it. You want to make sure these match, and they do. So we're going to press it down and we're going to burnish. Pretty simple. Little tiny off, not bad. So we have another line that we folded, which is right here, which gives us that X. Okay, now the fold up part. Take your 2-inch score line and burnish that in really good. And then I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to press down with these, grab, push, keep pushing in, push it in, push it in until we get these V's up here for the tint. Keep pressing, press it down. There we go. Mine was off a little bit. I don't know how I did that, but it will fall into place right there. Now burnish it. So this line was off, but that's what you want. You want these two open like that. You got your tint roof. Got this pouch in here on both sides like that. When you fold it open like this, you can see the other side. But this is the way you want it to go in your mechanism. So this should be even. I don't know what I did there. So grab your folder, your card base, and you're going to lay this in here. And if you need to trim the bottom off just a little bit, that's okay. This one was a little off there. So you lay this so the bottom's down here and the point is in the fold and it's even on both sides. Take your glue and apply glue along the line of the fold at this angle point. So you want to look like that. No glue down in here, just here and here. Fold your card over, burnish that down, and then turn it over, open it back up, keep it moved. Mine moved. It needs to be in there straighter. Keep it straight. Okay, that should hopefully work. Okay, now I've got that one straightened out. So now the other side, put glue again along the fold of the angle part, the top part of the piece, like that. And then you're going to fold this closed again. And open it up. Better let it dry some more. Okay, open it. And then we have our mechanism like that. So you take this. These are your pop-up cards. You've got the mountain pointing up, the center of these going down. You're going to put glue on the left side, bottom half, just in a square like here. Take this one, line it up. It should fit. It's also 4-inch, and you're attaching it to a 4-inch wide piece. So it's just attached at the left corner, bottom corner. The other one you're going to attach at the right upper corner. Here. Straighten this out and line it up here on the sides. And burnish. Let it dry for a few minutes or a few seconds. Art glitter glue dries pretty quick. Sort of call it quick dry glue, but it's art glitter glue that dries quick. Now then, this will twist and fold in. And then I'll burnish this part here. So now when it opens, it pops up like that. And when you close it, it pops down. That's simple. So that's how you do it for the in the black for the Halloween explosion box. So now we'll continue on with the tutorial. Okay, so we've got it together, and sometimes you have to help it to just close up for the first few times. Get it burnished in there. Okay, so let's put our closure piece on. So we'll make sure that this is your top where the fold is, and we've got this already folded and ready. So we're going to put glue on the little flat piece, not over your 1/4 inch. You want to leave your 1/4 inch space free here. So here on the bottom, I'm just going to stick this to the back side, but I'm centering it, putting that fold there on the bottom, and center that in place like that. So I need to move it up just a little bit. I want the cut edge of the bottom right along that score line for that 1/4 inch. And I just want to make sure that it's centered. Okay, then flip it open and grab your magnets and go ahead and peel the backing off of one side. I have two magnets together. I have a plus and a minus together. So just peel the paper backing off, and then we're going to attach it in the center about 1 inch, 3/4 to 1 inch from the end, and then take your other paper backing off, and then close this up, and then you're going to open it up and then take some score tape to put over it to keep them in place. So I've already cut my pattern papers to cover this. I have the same as the other one, this orange here. So everything's cut 1/8 of an inch shorter in the width, 1/8 of an inch shorter in the height, but I will put the measurements in the cutting list down below in my description. Just click on show more. And so I'm going to have for inside the flap and the outside, and I did do a deco punch on these. So I have all my papers. For your inside here, I'll give you the measurement here. You're going to measure from here to here, and these are the inside flaps, 4 7/8 wide by 3 7/8 tall. So I'm going to go ahead and pattern mine off camera, and then after that we'll get ready to put them inside our 6-inch box base. We have both of the pop-up elements ready. As you can see, the back is not finished because that's going to glue in. Now these are exactly 6 inches. So you're going to need to make sure that it fits right in between. So I'm going to put them opposite each other, and I'm going to use glue. So put glue on the whole back section here. Now make sure that your top is going to the outer edge, and I'm going to line it up right along that. and it should fit just exactly there. Now make sure with glue you can slide it. I'm going to center it. I'm just eyeballing it, so it's about a 1/2 inch on each side. I'm going to open this up and get in there the best that I can and burnish down in underneath here to make sure it sticks really good. Okay, and let that dry. So that's one attached, and then we're going to attach the other one, and then we'll be ready to make some elements for this side. Okay, and again, make sure the top, the closure at the bottom, goes to the top edge here, and again about a 1/2 inch on each side. And I like how this opens up really flat like that, so you can see your pictures. And it's in here at the top, right in there. Okay, so fold this up. And I'm going to burnish right here where it tends to want to come up here on the edge. Okay, that's good. Close that up. So there's that. So now we're ready to work on this, and I think on this I'm going to do some type of waterfall on this section where we have the bigger area in here. This is the inside of the 6-inch box. I already have the 5 and the 4 in. That's because originally I had these papers on all 4 corners, the little candies. You might have noticed that. And I had planned a certain kind of element here, but I didn't take into account that there wouldn't be clearance here between the box and the element. So I took it all out, and then I had to repattern this inside. So I used the same paper from here, and I kind of like that contrast. So I have this on the element and the candy here, and then this one here. So I have designed a little waterfall. This one's already made, and I'll show you putting them both in later. But this is how it's made. It's got 4 little flaps, and it has the base with the mat, photo mat. And I'm going to leave these blank here. And it has a tie here on the end that's attached to the back. So when this goes in, and then I put another string tie here underneath the pattern paper at the top. So it's going to attach in like that, and then you'll just be able to flip through your photos that way. So I'm going to show you how to make one of these. Let me set this aside, and then I'll set my box aside and bring it back to install the little waterfalls. Okay, so to create the waterfall, I've already patterned this one. You need to cut one piece for the base that is 4 inches wide by 4 5/8 tall, and then the pattern paper for the base is 3 7/8 wide, yes, by about 4 and should be 4 3/8. Let's see here. I've got it actually about 4 1/2. So between 4 3/8 and 4 1/2. So I went ahead and put that on here. So this is the base for the waterfall. And I did stub punch the 2 corners on the bottom edge. Then for the flaps, we need to cut, and this is just for one element, so you double this for making 2. So for one waterfall, you need 4 that are 3 1/2 by 4. And we're going to score these. So if you're cutting out for two waterfall elements, cut 2 bases, 4 wide by 4 5/8 tall, and cut out 8 flaps that are 3 1/2 by 4 to make 2 two of the elements, but I've already made one. So we're going to take our little waterfall piece and we're going to put our 3.5 inch side in at the top. And I want you to score at, instead of a 1/2 inch, just score at 3/8. This is a little bit smaller, so that's just an 1/8 under a half. So put your 3.5 inch side in at the top, score at 3/8. That's the mark between 1/4 and 1/2. Okay, 3/8, and one more, 3/8. Okay, so that's our little waterfall flaps. We're going to leave these straight. I'm not going to punch these. Okay, set that aside and go ahead and grab your bone folder, fold and burnish these little 3/8 inch hinges. Just like that. And for your string closure, you're going to need 4 double strings that are about 10.5 inches. I have one still to put on this one, and I tied a knot at the end to keep them together. So you need 4 double strings that are 10.5 inches long each. Okay. Now grab your base, take your first little waterfall and your glue, and just put glue on this 3/8 inch piece here. Little hinge on the back side where it's folded under. Okay. Opposite the punched corners, line this up at the top. 4 inches is the same size, so get it straight. Put the fold of the little flap to the cut edge of your base. Flip it up, take the second one, same thing, glue on the little hinge. And line it up to the edge of that last hinge. Line them up on the sides and burnish it. And you'll add all 4 this way. Line it up. And one more. And I'm going to go ahead and put the little photo mat that I cut. So I cut 2 out of black cardstock, 1 for each element, and you want those to be 3.5 by 2.5. I'll show it to you just a second here. Let's put this in and get it lined up. Okay, so here it is, and I'm going to put it in horizontal like that. So I'll just put glue on the back of it. And you could put a little photo mat on each one of these if you wanted to. I'm going to be adding some pattern paper. Okay, so there's that one. Now for the string. The string's going to go on the bottom opposite the fold. So I'm going to put it in the center. Grab me some score tape. And for now, just secure it with some score tape right here in the middle. I might have to move it if I need to adjust it to line it up with the one that's already in the box. Okay, so now I'm ready to put pattern paper on this. I've cut all mine out. I'm going to go ahead and put them on. The measurements for the pattern paper, you're going to need 8 for both elements, so 4 for this one, 3 7/8 wide by 2 7/8 tall. And just go ahead and glue them in all on the front. If you want to cut more and glue on the inside, that's up to you. So I'm just going to be doing 4, and I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. So So I got the other one made, so now I have two, both with their string attached on the back. And I went ahead and added for both of them, the little stickers and the little saying on the top. So let me grab the box. Oops, sorry, I might have hit the camera. Okay, so this one here has black cat on the side. So I'm going to put the one with the cat here. So this is going to glue, I'm going to glue it down about 1/8 of an inch from the top. Gives us plenty of space here at the bottom, and center it from side to side. So you're going to make sure this is clear. Take the backing off your tape here, and I'm going to use art glitter glue. And I'm just going to, I have got to take time to clean my nozzle. Okay. Yep. Shoot. When the glue starts thickening up, it causes a little more problems. There we go. So put a good amount. You don't want it to come in loose. Like I said, I'm going to flip it. String goes towards the center. The fold comes here to the outer edge. I'm going to center it about 1/8 of an inch from the top. Press it down good. Let's lift this up. Burnish all of this. I'm going to burnish in between each one. Make sure it is stuck down good. So there's that. So this ties up. I like to use double button string so there's no danger of it breaking. You could also use ribbon, or you could make a little magnetic flap down there at the bottom. Okay, so there's that one in. Let's just spin it around and get the other one into the box. This one says Spooky Halloween with the pumpkins, so I use these pumpkins that says spooky. So again, it's going to go right there. So let's take the paper backing off. And the fold of the waterfall goes towards the top, centered about 1/8 of an inch from the top. Make sure your string's cleared down here at the bottom. Burnish this in. And tie it in. So that's all the elements for inside of the 6-inch box. For our 5x5 box, which is the second box, I've already added the pattern paper and done one of the elements, but I'm going to give you the measurements right quick. For the pattern paper, you're going to cut 9 pieces that are 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. So you need 4 for the inside walls, 1 for the center, and then you're going to flip it over and you're going to want 4 for the outer side. You don't have to do this bottom one because this is going to be glued into the 6-inch box. So you go ahead and pick out your pattern papers and do that. Now I've chose this pattern, then once I put my element in, you don't see very much of it. So it's not a big issue what you put here. This element here, it ties in. I've only done one, so I'm going to show you how to do the second one. And I'm calling it a double flaps. You have 2 flaps here, then you have a little pocket that you can put photos and different things in. This I'm leaving the black cardstock for photos. You could put pattern paper on it if you wanted to. So we we're going to keep this one closed with a string tie closure wrapped around the sides versus wrapping across the top. So it's going to be like that. So we'll put the other one over here. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to grab my pieces that I've already cut for this double flap element that we're going to add in. So I need my scoreboard. You also, if you have one, your envelope punch board for the notch on the pocket. So we have cut, for both of these, I'm going to give you the total that you cut to do 2. Okay? So you want need 2 4.5 by 4.5. This is your base. So set that aside. For the pocket, you're going to want 2 5.5 by 2.5. We're going to score the 5.5 inch side at 5, ½ inch, turn it, score the 2.5 inch side at 2 or at ½ inch. You just want 1/2 inch score line like that. So you have 3 score lines, ½ inch on each end, short end, and 1 long ½ inch one. So take your scissors, and I want you to cut straight across over that intersecting lines there, not into it, but straight across, so that when you fold up your pocket, your corners, they should not overlap. If you've cut enough off. If not, like this one, I'm just going to angle it a little deeper this way, not at the point, but enough to make it where it doesn't overlap. So that gets rid of a lot of bulk on pockets like that. Then go ahead and open it back up. Grab your envelope punch board. Since this whole piece here was 5.5, I'm going to put this left in at, see, 2.5 would be 5, and then another quarter, so at 2 3/4 to get the center, and I'm going to punch that. So that gives me this notch here for this pocket. Okay, so you'll do that for the same for both pieces. And we'll need that again for our pattern paper. For your flaps, you need one that is 4.5 by 4. I mean, you need 2. You need one for each element that you're making. So take your 4.5, put it into the scoreboard, and score at ½ inch. That's one flap. And then 4 inch. You need 2 that are 4 inch by 3.5. We're going to score the 4 inch side at ½ inch. This creates our flaps. Go ahead and fold and burnish your flaps, the little hinge section, the ½ inch score line on your flaps. And then we're going to go ahead and punch the bottom corners. So I'm going to use the stub on these. Punch there. On both of them. This would be the 2 corners opposite of your score line. Okay, so now we're ready to put it together. So let me go ahead and move this out of the way. So take your base piece, and we're going to take the first, well, let's do the pocket first. So on the bottom edge, we're going to attach a pocket. So burnish those score lines really well to get it nice and flat. And put glue on the back side on all 3 of the little flaps. And line it up side to side and all the way down to the bottom edge. Okay, like that. Then we take the biggest flap and we're going to attach it to the back side. So we're putting the glue on the 1/2-inch flap on the inside like that. And line this up. So this is not the same size, so you're going to center the flap. So you should have about 1/4 inch on each side. Go ahead and burnish that one. Then take your next little flap, open it up to the inside, put your glue on the 1/2 inch, and you're going to center that over the larger flap. Again, you should have about 1/2 inch on each side. It's a little hard to see here in the black, but make sure it goes on flush at the top, just like that. So it's kind of a stacked double flap element here that we have. So now we have it all together. So we're going to do our string next. So I cut 2 pieces of string about 23 inches each, tied a knot down on the end of each, and I'm going to turn this over to the back. I'm going to get the halfway mark of my string. I'm going to lay it right here and take a piece of score tape and secure it on the back for now. Okay, I want to make sure we do that before we attach it down. You could add it after you do your pattern paper, but I want to make sure we have it down. So now we have our pattern paper pieces that I have cut. For the pocket piece, you're going to cut 2 that are 4 3/8 wide by 1 7/8 tall. For your inside your pocket, I am going to pattern the whole thing all the way down so that I cover that notch in there. And I could have put it down on the back side and I wouldn't have needed this full piece, but I'm going to put that in there. So this is, you want 2 for both elements, you know, 1 for each element. That is 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. And then we need, for the larger flap, we need 2 that are 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. And then we need 1 that is 2 3/8. I'm sorry, we need 2 that are 3 3/8 wide by 3 3/8 tall. So if you cut those measurements, I will put it down in my description below. Click on show more to find the cutting guide, but that will give you pattern papers for both elements, the one I've already done and this one. So the next thing you want to do is do your corners for your flap pieces. So this will be the deco. So the just two bottom corners. And then this one doesn't need one. For your pocket, grab that envelope punch board. Now I always mess up getting the halfway mark, so I'm going to grab me a pencil because this is not an even measurement, and I always mess it up. So 4 3/8. So half of 4 is 2. Put this at the top here. So there's your 2, and then 3/8, 2, 3. So half of 3/8 is 3/16. So I'll put it right there. So I can do it with the ruler, but not on my envelope punch board. So that's what's going to go on the inside in the middle. Hopefully that hits it right. Double check. Sometimes I'm a little off. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so that will work. So we can put this aside for now. And we'll go ahead and add all our pattern paper elements to this. And I'm going to do that off camera. And then I will show you. And again, we're not doing the back sides, or I am not. And this one you will have to, it's a little trickier, but you will have to work it in and dry fit everything to make sure that you don't need to trim something down just a tiny bit. Okay, so I have the little element patterned. It's just like the other one, and I will find a cut apart and stick in there later in other mats. So I'm going to grab my 5-inch box, and so this is going to go on this opposite side here. Excuse me. So turn it over, take the tape backing off your score tape here. Put a good amount of glue over these flaps up here at the top, and then go ahead and put glue all around the edges. Watch your string here. Okay, so I turn it over. Probably would have been better if I tied it, but I didn't. I'm going to make sure my strings are pulled. And we're going to put it down. It's about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom, and we center it, so it's about 1/4 of an inch on each side, and that will make it about, I want it up a little more than that to make it balance with the others. About 1/8 of an inch from the top, which leaves about 1/4 inch on the bottom. So let's make sure we got it straight. Okay, that looks good. So we lift everything up and go ahead and burnish it down in place. So like that. And so there's our little element, and we can tie it closed. And now I will cut cardstock and create a different kind of element that will go on these two sides. Okay, so I've made one of the elements for the other two sides of the 5-inch box. So it's this cute little pocket type. It has a booklet here that pulls out that holds the little doors. So these unfold like this. So you have 3 on that side and 3 on this side. The paper's so cute, it's hard to cover it up. And then you have these little triangle pocket holders for the booklet, but then the doors open up, and I haven't put anything in my pocket yet, so I will do that later. So you have these little doors, and then this little booklet here that slides into that. So I think that turned out really cute. So yes, I'm going to show you how to make it for this side right here. We just slide this out of the way, and we're going to need our envelope punch board and our scoreboard. For sure, I've already cut mine, so that's the booklet. I'm going to set that aside, and let's grab the pieces for the holder piece with the pocket. So for the base of this, you're going to need to make 2 sets. You're going to cut 2 of this size, 4 by 8 1/4, and we're going to score this 8 1/4 side at 2, 2 1/8, and because it's just easier to turn it, we're going to turn it completely around because we want that little 1/8 of an inch space in there. We're going to turn it completely around, still on the 8 1/4 side, score at 2 and 2 1/8, and this is what makes our doors. Oops, stay in the score line helps a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and fold these. And for me, it's easier to fold the inner one first and then the outer one next. So like I fold the one towards the back first, and then I repeat with the other one. Just kind of use my fingernails to kind of push that down. So when it's scored right, we're going to have a little 1/8 of an inch just on the sides to accommodate our little pocket and whatever we put in it. A little more, and then our little doors meet. So that's the base. So you make 2 of those for this project. Then you want a pocket, so you cut 2 that are 2 1/2 by 5, and we're going to score the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch. Oops. 1/2 inch, 4 1/2. That gives us the 2 1/2 inches on the ends. Turn it and score your 2 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. So this makes the pocket. And we're going to angle cut the corners. Good. Don't go over the score lines, but right where it crosses. And then we're going to take this punch. So this is a 5, and a half of 5 is 2.5. So put the end at 2.5 and just punch to get your pocket notch. Okay. So then you can fold up your pocket and check that it's not over each other. So that's good. We've got a good, nice, flat little pocket there. And I burnished that. And that is for the holder. And then the next thing, let's see, where did my little squares go for my triangles? Have those. May have lost it. Oh, there it is on the side. So for your triangles, you're going to cut a square. Your angle pockets or triangle pockets. Cut a 2. This is for both pieces. 2 that are 2.5 by 2.5 square. And then I'm going to take my big scissors, because for me it's just easier on something this small to put my scissor right at that corner point and just cut all the way across. Nice and straight. And then we're going to score this. Put it in and score at a 1/2 inch. And turn. So you want a score mark on the 2 outer sides, not the long angled one. So another 1/2 inch. It just makes a small triangle. You can make these any size you want if you wanted to. 1/2 inch. And then the side. So do not score your longest edge. Now then, I'm going to go ahead where these square is. I'm going to make a cut. So these are mitered. Now when you fold this, you're going to have excess. And these are kind of like photo mats. I almost cut too much on that one. There we go. Like little photo mats. I mean, not photo mats, but photo corners. You know, where you put your, stick it down, stick a picture in. Well, I'm going to cut these wings off because I don't want those. Because I'm not sticking it on there like a photo corner. So I just want that triangle there, like that. So that's the one on the left. And then we need to go ahead and fold up this other one. And cut those wings off. Okay, so those, we'll burnish them a little more in a minute, or for that. Then for the booklet, you're going to cut out 2 that are 10.5 by 3.5, and we're going to score the 10.5 inch side at 3.5 and at 7. And this is going to make our little booklet. You can fold it up any way you want. I tend to fold mine on the inside. I have one side that's a little bit longer, so that's going to become the outside part. Fold it up and burnish. Okay, so that's our scoring. So now we're ready to put the pattern paper on. So let's take this. We're going to put our pocket in first, just like we have before. You're going to make sure that you don't go over the little score line, the inner score lines. We want to keep this where it will fold up. So I'm putting the glue on my flaps on the back side of my pocket. And this goes in. And the bottom fold of the pocket goes flush with the cut bottom edge of this holder piece. Okay, so we've got that. Let me get that glue off of there. Now then, we're ready for patterned paper. And take mine out so that I can, this other one, see what papers I used. That's what I thought. I used the stars. So this is cut For this, you're going to cut 2, which is enough for each project. This should be 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. It's going to slide right in that pocket. You just have to wiggle it around and to get it in there. So let's glue that in. Sometimes you have to wiggle it in there a little bit to get it all the way down. Make sure it is going over that flap. And once you put your pattern paper in, then things will not get stuck in your pocket on that little ridge. So go ahead and burnish that. And then for the pocket, I'm going to use the stripe. And this is where we need to mark the center for the envelope punch board. Put it right there. And we'll go ahead and punch that. So I'll put that mark in the center. There we go. And that's going to fit right here on this pocket. Okay, that fits good. Now you don't have to make yours match from one side to the other. You can do it different papers if you wanted to. Just whatever you like to do with your pattern papers, with your Halloween collections. I think it all works really well. Okay, there's that one. Now for the inside of the doors, you're going to cut a total of 8. So use 4 in each one. So I have these candies, and I'm going to put them right there, and they are cut 8 of these, which will be enough for both elements, 1 7/8 wide and 3 7/8 tall. So I did cut 4 of one pattern and 4 of the other. I used this candy for the inside, and I'm going to use the spider webs for the outside. And just make sure with directional that you've got it turned the right way. A little bit crooked. There we go. Okay, so that's the inside. Now the outside, I'm going to turn it over this way. You don't put anything on this big space here because that glues in. So I'm putting the spider webs on. Oh, wait. Let's see here. Yeah, we want to put a little, we'll do this real quick with one. Put these little corners on first because we want the pattern paper to slip down inside. So glue on your little flaps on the back. Try to get this one in real quick so I can slide that glued piece of paper in. So it goes like this one goes on the far left. Whoops, line it up. Burnish it. Grab this right here, add a little bit more glue. It's starting to dry some. Okay, so this slides down into that triangle to cover those little sections there so that it's easier to slide our little booklet in. Okay, there we go. And we'll put the other triangle on the other side. Go ahead and glue your other little triangle pocket to the front of the right side, and then grab your paper for that. So using the spider webs. And that just slides right in there. And burnish. So there's the pockets inside and out. Okay, and when you push that together, it will kind of come together better. So now let's do the booklet. And let's see, the ghosts are going to go on the front. Ghost. Do I have the ghost cut? Yes. So the ghosts go on the front. My fold is to the left. Oops. Make sure I'm putting it the right direction. There's the ghost. Now open it up, and then here on the inside we have bats. Solid piece of bats right here. Okay, this side here is going to be pieced, and I'm going to put a strip. First I'm going to put these. So whatever scraps you have, this one is about, looks like 2.5. So that's going to go on the far right. Now I have this piece cut, and I'm just measuring it to see. I'm going to trim off just a little bit, about an 1/16 of an inch, I mean, so that this fits in here. Now I'm going to open this up so I can see it better. So this fits in here, so I have a border on both sides. So I just grabbed a scrap of what I had laying on the table and used it to make this. So we have this one pieced. This is on the first one on the inside. So then we open it up. And I'm going to use this buffalo plaid here to separate two image panels, or pattern paper images, I should say. Now you could just leave these blank if you wanted to for photos. And I'm going to go ahead and put pattern paper in mine. And then on this side, I'm going to put this. Now I need to check this because this may be cut just a little bit too wide. I'm going to trim it down just a tad. So always dry fit after you've cut your pages to see if you need to make a slight adjustment. There we go. That's better. So then this one goes here. Then we have the one on the front, or I mean on the back, on the outside. So we got those three. So those close in like that. So we have this one in the center here, and it's going to be this candy print. I'm just checking it. I'm going to trim just a little bit off the bottom. Okay. There, so there's the booklet. And let's grab our little piece, put this other one back where it belongs. Okay, so we got our piece here, and we've got to pattern the triangles. So I cut these, you want two that are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, then cut in half, and I'm using the plaid side. I'm just going to put it right here. It's a little smaller than, it could be a little bit bigger, but I like it with the black, extra black around it with this plaid. That looks great anyway. And so then we do the other one. And this holder piece is finished. And as I said, the booklet will fit right into these triangles like this to hold the little doors closed. So now we're ready to put it in our box. So you grab your 5-inch box, and on the opposite side here, I've already got one in. I'm just going to eyeball it. It's going to fit with about 1/2 inch all the way around. So I'm putting glue all on the back here. Put this down where I can see it. And I'm just going to eyeball it. Make sure it's straight. Take this booklet out so you can open the doors and then burnish it. So I will be adding something into the pockets later. Okay, so that's the inside of box number 2, which is the 6-inch. I'm sorry, this is the 5-inch. We've already got the 6-inch one, the inside done. So this just brings it all together. And then we're ready to do the little 4-inch one. Now I'm not going to probably do as much to it or add elements to it as much, because I want to keep it where it can hold something on the inside on the center. So there's that box that will be glued down into our 6-inch box. So I'm grabbing my little 4-inch one, take the lid off that I've already done, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the pattern papers for this and go ahead and attach them down. So you will cut 9 that are 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. So you want 5 on the inside, 4 on the outside. Okay, I cut my papers and glued them into my little base. Make sure you don't go over your fold line. Here I've got right on the line, so I've got a little bit of groove I had to put in my pattern paper, but I don't want to tear it off. So anyway, on the inside I did the words here in the center, the ghost for all the inside panels, and then on the back I used the Starry Night. Nothing here on the bottom because it's going to be glued in. Now I am not putting any elements in this 4-inch one because I think I may want to make some kind of little box that comes in and out right here for some treats or something. So I'm going to leave that undone. So you could add photo mats if you wanted to, or photos after the fact with your little box. So this comes in like this. We've got our lid. So there's our little 4-inch. And then we have the finished 5-inch. Now I haven't added any major decorating, of course. And here is the 6. Like I said, I haven't added any of the ephemera pieces or frames and tags. I'll just have to play with that and see how I want it. But this is the basic construction. So let's go ahead and take our lids off again, I think. Let them fall down. And we're going to glue each one in there. So we're going to take our 5-inch box, and it's going to fit right in here. And I'm looking to see, it should be, because it's a 5 and this is a 6, it should have 1/2 inch all the way around. So I'm just going to have to play with that. The little booklet fell out, that's okay. Grab my glue. So the glue is going to go here on this bottom section. So I'm putting glue all the way around the perimeter. and then quite a bit in the center here. We want it to stay stuck down. I'm going to see which ones I want. Okay. I think I'm going to do this way. So I'm going to look down in here and make sure both sides and side to side about a 1/2 inch. Sorry, my head's in the way. Just double checking here. Just make sure it's straight. Turning it. That looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and burnish right here really good on the center part. Okay. Now we'll do the other one. So this goes back in here. There we go. So the little 4-inch is going to fit in here, and again it's going to have about a 1/2 inch clearance. So the glue on the edge. Before you press anything down, turn it and make sure it's where you want it. Looks pretty good. Maybe a little too far one way here. There we go. Okay, so looks pretty straight to me. There we go. And I'm going to burnish that in and let it dry. So now I'm going to bring this up. Throw my little lid. Outer one. Okay, so there's the basic construction for the first day of my 13 Frights before Halloween. Check back tomorrow at 10 a.m. when I will have another tutorial for you. I will finish this one up. It will be shown in the video finished. I hope you've enjoyed it, and you will continue to join me every day for the next 12 more days, leading right up to Halloween. Thanks. Bye-bye.